Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you my logbook for replacing the stabilizer struts on my Ford Focus hatchback. I'll be walking you through the whole process, from identifying the problem to sourcing the parts and finally, the installation itself. I'll also share some tips and tricks I learned along the way so you can tackle this job yourself and save some money. Let's get started. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the front suspension and steering of a Ford Focus TWO, specifically tackling those pesky stabilizer bar struts. We are going to be removing, replacing, and repairing them, so grab your tools and let's get started. First things first, safety is paramount. Make sure your car is securely parked on a level surface and engage the parking brake. You'll need a jack, and jack stands never work under a car supported only by a jack. We are talking about your safety here, folks, so don't skip this step. Once the car is safely secured, we can begin. You'll need a variety of tools, including sockets, wrenches, and possibly a breaker bar depending on how stubborn those bolts are. I always recommend having a good quality set of tools, it makes the job so much easier. Now, let's locate the stabilizer bar struts. They are usually located near the bottom of the front suspension, connecting the two lower control arms. They are relatively easy to spot, but if you're unsure, a quick online search for a diagram of your specific Ford Focus TWO model will help. Take your time and carefully examine the area before you start disconnecting anything. Before we start removing the struts, it's a good idea to take some pictures or a short video. This will be incredibly helpful when it comes time to put everything back together. Trust me, I've learned that the hard way. Take pictures from multiple angles, focusing on how everything is connected. This will save you a lot of headaches later on. Now, let's get to the actual removal process. You'll need to disconnect the stabilizer bar links from the struts. This usually involves using a wrench or socket to loosen and remove the nuts securing the links. Remember to support the weight of the suspension components as you loosen these nuts to prevent anything from dropping unexpectedly. Once the links are disconnected, you can then remove the bolts securing the stabilizer bar struts to the chassis. Again, take your time and be careful not to damage any surrounding components. Once the old struts are removed, it's time to install the new ones. The installation process is essentially the reverse of the removal process. Make sure the new struts are properly aligned and seated before tightening the bolts. Don't over-tighten them, as this can damage the threads or the struts themselves. Once everything is tightened securely, reconnect the stabilizer bar links. Double-check everything before lowering the car back down. After you've reinstalled everything, it's crucial to test the steering and suspension. Take the car for a test drive, paying close attention to any unusual noises or vibrations. If everything feels right, congratulations. You've successfully replaced your Ford Focus 2 stabilizer bar struts. If you notice anything amiss, double-check your work and consult a mechanic if needed. Remember, safety first. And that's it for today's video. I hope this detailed guide has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more car repair tutorials. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into the world of Ford Focus TWO restyling front stabilizer struts. We are going to tackle replacing them, but before we even get our hands greasy, let's talk about how to figure out if your stabilizer struts are even worn out. You don't want to replace perfectly good parts, right? So, diagnosing worn stabilizer struts on your Ford Focus TWO. This isn't rocket science, but it does require a bit of attention to detail. First, you'll want to visually inspect the struts themselves. Look for any obvious signs of damage, cracks, bends, or excessive rust. These are pretty clear indicators that a replacement is needed. But even if they look okay at first glance, there's more to it. Pay close attention to the rubber bushings at each end of the strut. These bushings are what allow the strut to move smoothly, and over time, they can wear down and become cracked or torn. If you see any significant wear or damage to these bushings, that's a major red flag. You might even notice a clunking or knocking sound when going over bumps, which is a classic symptom of worn bushings. Another way to check is to grab the strut itself and try to move it. If there's excessive play or movement, it's a strong indication that the strut needs replacing. Remember, even a small amount of play can significantly impact your vehicle's handling and stability. We are talking about safety here, folks, so don't skip this step. Now, let's get to the actual replacement process. This is a job that most DIYers can handle with the right tools and a bit of patience. You'll need a jack stands, safety first, a wrench set, and possibly a socket set depending on the specific fasteners on your model. Before you start, make sure to consult your owner's manual for specific torque specifications for your Ford Focus TWO. This is crucial to ensure everything is tightened correctly and safely. Once you've got your car safely jacked up and supported, you'll need to disconnect the stabilizer bar links from the struts. This usually involves using a wrench to loosen the nuts securing the links. Then, you'll need to remove the bolts that attach the struts to the vehicle's chassis. Again, refer to your owner's manual for the exact location and type of fasteners. Once the bolts are removed, you can carefully lower the old struts and install the new ones, reversing the removal process. Make sure to tighten everything to the correct torque specifications. And remember, always double-check your work before lowering your car back to the ground. Taking your time and being methodical is key here. A rushed job can lead to problems down the road. Once everything is tightened and secured, you can lower your car and test drive it to ensure everything is working correctly. Listen carefully for any unusual noises or vibrations. If everything feels right, you've successfully replaced your Ford Focus TWO stabilizer struts. Remember to dispose of your old parts responsibly.